talking to you. We about to have a house party. Welcome to the Re-Emancipation of Social Dance podcast, a prelude to the world premiere of an immersive dance theater experience created by me, Raja Feather Kelly, with Philadelphia's finest, Yolanda Wisher. Listen in as 5 multifaceted dancers tell the evolving story of social dance and the impact that it's had on the people and cultures of Philadelphia. Come on in and let's move. Episode 5, Something That Simmers. In this episode, we check in with each dancer to see where they are in the process of devising their own individual performance for the show. To initiate the process, I asked each of the 5 dancers to 1. Write a testimonial via text or movement that describes their relationship to movement, community, social dance, and selfhood. To 2. Create a performative gesture in response to their testimonial. And 3, design a performative invitation into their performative gesture. This is so that audiences have the opportunity to participate. At our first rehearsal in early 2024, the dancers shared their responses to the prompts with each other for the first time. Afterwards, the dancers all sat down to record their reflections on the rehearsal and the process so far. Germaine gets into the musical inspirations behind her set, and Metal and Lela get into what they're going to wear. Nikki talks about how her father influenced the piece she's going to work on, and Ra talks about doing something nasty. Take a listen.
Me. Louder or no? Is this good? Okay.
My name is Germaine Ingram.
My name is Lela Aisha Jones, Okun Lola, Okikiola, Oshumi.
Yes, I am Nikki Powerhouse.
Metal is what I've been going by in the hip-hop dance scene for the last, 20 years.
I am Fitchful Ra.
Emancipate. Emancipate.
Emancipate.
One of the gestures I do is I kind of snap my way from the sort of knee-thigh area all the way to the top, and then I do a 2-step, the snap. That was one gesture that I thought, audience really be easy to get into.
I am working on dankness, a thickening of space that buttresses transformation, something that simmers and solidifies without capturing. Something nasty.
I was really happy to be in this room because that's a room where I practice anyway, and it's also very small and the energy is just super contained, which is what my basement is like anyway. So yeah, I was even thinking today, I was like, I can bring in all of my old crew denim jackets that I made that have I painted my crew names on them or whatever, and maybe there's things like that adorning this basement space, but also maybe it's this more avant-garde exploded version of what my little lab space looks like.
Well, I'm thinking of my living room actually being a kitchen. Very often, kitchens are the most communal space in the house. But in this instance, I'm thinking of the kitchen as a private space for me, a space where I can engage with the whole arc of anxieties, of emotions, of ecstasy, and to do it in a way that it's not exposed to other family members or friends or anyone else or to the audience. I'm constructing the choreography in a way that has this feel of privacy and of doing movement and vocalization for myself.
I feel relieved, new awarenesses after sharing. I felt more confident during the process in the story.
Well, hey, Re-Emancipation of Social Dance coming at you on the 1s and 2s. Come and see us. Shh.
Emancipate. Emancipate.
Corporeality.
Parts.
Us.
Material existence.
A sense of wonder and play.
Joy.
The human condition.
Emancipate.
Maybe it's this like more avant-garde, like exploded version of what like my little lab space looks like. So I think that I don't know anything about like set design, lighting, or anything like that, but I know how like important and impactful it is. So I'm just curious as to cool ways that we can start taking this like b-boy breakdance thing into a different visual aesthetic. And what if we just put the traditional form in that setting? What does it look like? Like I was even thinking like, what does it mean if I'm doing this meditation thing, but I'm in like the classic like b-boy uniform, 2-piece Adidas suit or 2-piece Puma suit with like the kazals on and the bucket hat and all that stuff, but you're doing this other weird thing, I don't know. Or what if it's this whole other wacky avant-garde outfit?
I'm working with a designer on a headpiece, something that becomes a half mask that will obscure my eyes. I'll be able to see out into the audience, but the audience won't be able to see my eyes. It's actually responsive to seeing recently an exhibition at the Hirshhorn Gallery of an exhibition of Simone Lee's work. I've seen a lot of her work, but I hadn't been thinking about it in the context of this performance. And then I actually went down to the Hirshhorn to see another exhibition and saw that her work was there and went through it. And it occurred to me that this is a way of really capturing that notion of privacy, of dancing for myself, of claiming this emotional space that I can manipulate. The vignette starts with this compilation of audio headlines that reflects on the multiple traumas that Black people have been going through recently. It might go back in history. I've been collecting a bunch of things, going back to recordings of Amos and Andy, and just sort of coming forward, and I'll have to work with somebody to help me figure out 45 seconds or so of those headlines create this sense of anxiety that enters my body as I'm actually making biscuits on a kitchen table in my kitchen. And so you see the impact of all this trauma just racking my body, and gradually the shaking, the shivering diminishes.
That room was where I had the rehearsal. That room. And I stood in that room for probably 30 minutes. I walked around.
I'm in a dance studio? Like, how did you get here? Like, how do you get to a dance studio for rehearsal? Like, what are you doing?
Girl, I don't, like my little girl is like, what? We're in a dance studio? I feel confident because I've grown to learn about what my journey has meant to me and how I can take what I have journeyed through and share it in any different community.
I am thinking about a veil and a hat, which comes from a masquerade tradition, Yoruba culture. I'm also thinking about a suit type look, but like wide leg pants, maybe African print, maybe white, maybe changeable, because I was thinking of the ability for somebody to take the little projector and project something onto my back.
And then it segues into a recording of Mahalia singing How I Got Over. Which is such a wonderful song. I mean, I used to hear, I love the rendition that James Cleveland did. And of course, Aretha Franklin did it, but James Cleveland's rendition was a special favorite for me. And it was years of listening to that before I really focused on the words, my soul looks back and wonders. I mean, it seems to me that's the centerpiece. of this. My soul looks back and wonders. We have to look retrospectively and realize how our strength and our persistence how has allowed us to get over.
I think there's something in there about contentment and fulfillment that is, I know I'm in it and it's a project and it's a performance, you know, but I also am like, how are we gonna do that? Because the presentation of the thing always changes the thing, and we know that, you know? And it's just a question. How you gonna do that right now, Lela? You found a way through Flyground. You found your way through working with Metal. You found your way when you came to Philly. You know, you found your way in the house club, and now here's another stage, another phase, another mode. Yeah, and I was excited about that.
I've been working a lot with the image of like perhaps a tornado. So of course, or like a whirlwind of something. So of course it sort of can come down to like one point, but there's always the mass like stirring, like this cauldron thing that's happening. Who's stirring, I don't know, but like, and of course things are like falling out of the tornado. So I'm personally never interested in pulling those things out when I'm alone. Usually those things only come out and sort of get individually explored in performance making. So if I have a performance coming up, I'm like, okay, let's look in the pot, right? Like what do I want to deeply interrogate here?
And the movement strategy for this piece is a deconstruction of the jerk. So I started with, okay, so what is it about the jerk? It's not just the arms, it's the torque of the body. And so how do I translate that, those movements of, these essential movements of the jerk into something that's reflective of gospel, that's reflective of the blues, and then it brings us to this place of, you know, what we know as the social dance of the jerk. I mean, maybe, you know, the kids today don't recognize the jerk, but that was certainly central to my experience with social dance.
I'm most excited about having the opportunity to do this meditative practice that I've been doing by myself for a few years, and now actually say, oh look, this birthed something other than just a way to roll around by myself, and also see how it fits into the context of this other conversation of other dance forms. Breaking always is in conversation with that, but we love to just silo ourselves and be like, nope, I'm doing this, like, this is my own thing, and it's so large, I don't have space to think about anything else. Really, it's a part of this larger cultural conversation that, like, I feel like I'm just now getting to, like, pull a seat up to the table to, you know what I mean? So I'm, like, really hyped about that.
I want them to feel. I want them to feel themselves, feel out loud, feel in the space, and when they leave, like, they can be reminded that feeling free is a permission that you get to tell yourself again and again and again. It's all up to you how big you want it, and when you're going to need it the most. As you want to show up in life and everything you do free.
I understand the way that production can explode our dreams, whether that's, I mean, of course it's going to be helpful, but it's a whole other concern. Like I said, I'm excited, but I just know the production process is the production process. There will be restraints or constraints. There will be, dreams won't be crushed, but they'll be augmented. And inside of that, we'll find new, or perhaps old, perhaps creaky tools, you know, things we thought perhaps we want things that are shiny, and we actually need things that are rusty to get us somewhere. So everyone is working, or social dance is so much about history.
I would describe what I am creating for the show an invitation to personal freedom, to collective freedom, spiritual freedom, and what that means on your personal journey, what you discover, how freedom show up in different places in your life, how it informs your day, your creativity, your life, the way you make decisions. I feel like there's some groundness in it that you can create and stand on, and which I believe that it's also what flows, what you allow, and I think that was what the process has been for me, is that lean in, stay in, allow the flow of freedom to take its root in you, and trust that freedom is not just all out here. It's like it's actually giving you some meat and bones and some substance to live purposely.
My piece or my segment of the show is going to take you on a journey through a few very specific places. Outside of 40th and Rotunda, by the movie theater where the little steps where we gather, and then you walk into this big room filled with people and hip-hop and music, and then to my West Philly basement with a bunch of clothes and a bike rack and cardboard boxes and beat-up linoleum floor. Those are the three real-life places that we're gonna go to, and we're gonna break along the way.
My father came to mind as a story to like how dance became my way of freedom. Before the Phantom, my father was my Phantom. He's my ancestor. He made transition when I was 13. So I have this innocence of him. It wasn't until my adulthood that I understood that the dance floor was his safe haven, was his place where he could express himself and escape to. And so when he made his transition, it was like, oh wow, oh now, and as an adult, it's like, oh, get your life is not just on this dance floor. This freedom better protect you. This freedom better be something greater than just, because when the music stops, you hear you with you and the world is going to do what the world is going to do. So, and so then now I understand, like when my father, being a child, looking at him and seeing that much freedom, it was exciting. It was exciting to experience it, but it was also, when I got an adult, it was like, well, where am I going to get that from? And so then it was yourself. You can always ask you, who loves you, baby?
Freedom is very accessible to me, and like I have questions about that statement, freedom being accessible to me, but I think it's because of my connection to body, or my refusal to allow body to be captured, that allows me to be fully free. Meaning, it's not necessarily when I'm on the dance floor, it's not necessarily when I was in the schoolyard doing the Wu-Tang, it's not that. It's honestly, I can get out of bed. Like sitting here, I feel like the feeling of my right hand with knuckles pressed against my cheekbone feels free, and there's a conversation where that's dance. I think everyone in the room can call that dance. Everyone knows that is dance. So in that sense, it's kind of cheesy or cheap to say that every moment is that moment, but I think that's that. And I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky to feel that way. I really am very lucky.
And now we've come to the end of the party. Thanks for dancing with us. This episode of the Re-Emancipation of Social Dance podcast was produced by V. Shane Frederick with Nia Benjamin and Yolanda Wisher for Intercultural Journeys. For more information about the podcast and project, visit reemancipatedance.org. The Re-Emancipation of Social Dance has been supported by the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage. The views expressed are those of the artist and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage or the Pew Charitable Trusts. Now, you don't have to go home, but you've got to get the heck up out of here. Peace.